Hey, what is up, everyone? It's Ben Foggins, Media Corner, back again with another AK After a Soul review episode for today. This is going to be my review on the 2021 film, which came out last year. This one, I want to get this one done so I can focus on other stuff. So this is going to be my review on the 2021 action comedy film, and this is the sequel to the hit film that was released back in 2017, and that is Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard. This was directed by Patrick Hughes, once again, who made the first film, and once again stars Ryan Reynolds, Samuel L. Jackson, and Salma Hayek, as well as introducing some new some new additional cast members in the sequel, which includes Antonio Banderas and Morgan Freeman. So in this sequel to the Hitman's Bodyguards, that we see Michael Bryce, once again played by Ryan Reynolds, is back, but this time he's now suspended as a bodyguard. He's got his license taken off him as a bodyguard, and he's forced to live a normal life outside being a bodyguard, as well as from doing some action as a bodyguard that either consists either fists or guns. But it doesn't last that long, and so Sonia, Darris's wife, once again played by Salma Hayek, asks for Michael's help to basically rescue Darris, who's kidnapped, once again played by Samuel L. Jackson. And of course they rescue him, and they have to go up against this new villain who's played by Antonio Banderas, who is planning a terror attack in Europe. And so basically see Michael has to protect Darris and his wife Sonia as well along the way while they go up against this new villain in the sequel. So that's pretty much the story of the Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard. Now, the first film, The Hitman's Bodyguard, I never saw it back in the cinemas in 2017 because I was on holiday back at the time. But from what I know, it was released on my 16th birthday back then, which was really interesting. But when I got back, I never saw it, and through the recent years after it was released, I never saw it until when I heard we were getting a sequel. Is when I first saw the trailer for the sequel. When I first saw it, I was like, oh, we're getting a sequel to the first film. I didn't even notice that, and I was like, I need to give the first movie a watch before I was going to go and see the sequel. So I did watch the first movie, and after I did watch the first film, I think the first film is a fun, decent action comedy film. Definitely not one of the best ones I've seen. Definitely not one of the worst ones I've seen in ages, but it's a decent watch. It's definitely not a great film, but I can definitely say it's a bit of a guilty pleasure for myself. Mostly, it's most fun to enjoy of that film, mostly due to the chemistry between Ryan Reynolds and Samuel L. Jackson, and there are some crazy violent action sequences which I enjoyed in that. So for the sequel, I didn't know what to expect from this one, but it was great to see, Ryan Reynolds, Samuel L. Jackson, and Salma Hayek coming back to do this one. And I was surprised with Antonio Banderas and Morgan Freeman in the sequel. And I was pretty interested in what they can do for the sequel. So I went to see this I went to see this back on the 14th of June of last year, and my screening was quite packed. There was quite a few people who were sitting alongside me watching the sequel. And after walking out of the sequel, I think the sequel was a step down for me, because this sequel really wasn't as good as the first film. I don't think this is a terrible sequel. Definitely not one of the worst sequels I've seen in ages, but this is definitely a sequel I could consider being a mediocre watch. While the cast in the film, Ryan Reynolds, Samuel Jackson, Salma Hayek, as well as Antonio Banderas and Morgan Freeman, they're pretty solid in the film for their characters and for their acting performances in the film, and their characters do have some chuckles here and there, which there are some few chuckle moments in the film that were kind of funny. That's the things I do like in the sequel. But the problems I do have with the sequel is that the story just kind of feels like the first one over again. Instead of having like Michael's not supposed to be bodyguarding, not supposed to be a bodyguard, and having like Salma Hayek in having a big part in the sequel. She did have like a minor part in the first film, but here in the sequel, she has much of a bigger part in this one, rather than Samuel Jackson. I just felt the story was just pretty just exactly like the first one all over again, and for the jokes and the stuff and all that, like I said, there was some funny moments with the cast, but most of the film just mostly has just like a lot of laughs throughout every scene, which most of the time for those kind of scenes, most of them kind of felt tiring, and it kind of got too fast really for me, and most of the jokes kind of felt too old for me that I've seen before in other films. And there are some moments like for its jokes and humor that do feel unpredictable. Like this one near the halfway point involves Michael, like what happens to him, which is really unpredictable. And there was one and then for Morgan Freeman's character, there's a twist to his character which I didn't see that coming. When I first saw it, I wasn't like, "You're joking me, right?" I wasn't like that. I was just like, "Huh?" And it got me confused really. And this whole film wasn't that boring, because like I said, there was some funny moments, but most of these moments just go a bit too, I just kind of found the last too old really for me, like the jokes and all that just felt too old for me, that I've probably seen before in other films in the past. But in the end, guys, Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard, it wasn't a terrible sequel. Definitely one of the worst experiences I had of last year. It was just an okay watch. If you're a fan of like the cast in the film, like Ryan Reynolds, Samuel Jackson, or Salma Hayek, or even the new people who are in the sequel like Antonio Banderas and Morgan Freeman, or if you found like over the top action comedy films, you may have a good time in this one. But personally, I thought it was just an okay time for myself. And again, this wasn't the worst experience I've had of last year, so that's pretty much what I have to say about Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard. I'm going to give Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard 2.5 out of 5. Like I said, it was just an okay time for myself. And again, I didn't hate this movie so much. Definitely not the worst experience I've had of last year. It was just a fine time. There were some moments I did like in this film. There were some chuckles, and acting performances were solid enough. But there are definitely problems with the sequel. And I just think the sequel really wasn't worthy of being made, even though it did. I guess it did because of how much money the first movie did back then when it was first released in 2017. But anyway, thank you so much for watching for my AK after I saw review on Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard. Let me know what you think of the sequel, if you've already seen this before, if you've just recently watched it for the first time. Did you have a blast with this, or were you not a fan of this one? So thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned for more reviews. And as always, this has been Foggins Media Corner signing off.